Hello.
Hello there, is that Barsheem?
This is Barsheem. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. It's DJ Gloss here from Sound Fusion Radio in London, in the UK. So, how are you, Barsheem? How are you today?
I'm doing very well. It's a nice sunny morning here in New York City, so that's good. We had rain yesterday, so I'm doing great.
Wonderful. Sounds good to me. Sun in New York City sounds absolutely wonderful this time of year. That's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful. That's great. And are you okay if I start throwing a few questions at you, Barsheem? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I wanted to start with the album there, What Is to Be Major. I wondered if you could sort of talk us through the album a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the inspirations and what's behind it and so on.
Okay. Well, yeah. So the name of the album is What Is to Be Major. And it's just a record that I thought that I wanted to make something that was uplifting, something that was very positive, and it spoke to many different ideas of what you could be happy about, like love for yourself, love for others, just respect for others and things like that. So, What Is to Be Major was just basically tying in all together, being excellent in everything that you do, in your positive attitude and what you bring to the world and things like that.
Sounds absolutely great, and the album sounds absolutely great too. I have to say, I really love "If This World Were Mine," the version that you did of the Marvin Gaye Tammy Terrell track. That's fabulous. What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, Marvin Gaye is my favorite artist of all time.
I gathered that.
Yeah, I have tons of other artists, but he's the one who I listen to mostly, and I don't know, I relate to just his positivity and his sincerity. With that song, I've always been quite a bit afraid of covering a Marvin Gaye song. I never really had a problem paying homage to him in concert, but as far as recording, I've always wanted to take my time with it, possibly do a tribute album or something like that, just so I can put full energy and focus into it and make it great. So how we went about recording If This World Were Mine, it's a song that's been done over and over again.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do it differently this time, and which is why I don't have a female guest star on it, which I would love, by the way. So if there's any ladies who would love to sing with me, I'm more than happy to do so. But,
Barsheem, I'll get them to form an orderly queue for you, okay?
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, but I mean, it was. I wanted to do it differently, and it just worked with the album. Like, I've always loved the song itself, but getting down to deciding what we were going to do for the album, it just made sense, and it just went in line with the theme of love and just admiration for another, and it just worked out so well that we decided to go in and record it and see what happens, and we're very proud of it. We're very happy with the outcome.
I think it's an absolutely fabulous album. I love that there's so much orchestral. There's strings. There's lots of keys alongside some fantastic drum beats, congos, bongos. It's all there. I mean, it's fabulous. It's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so glad you like it.
It's a great album, and I'm very pleased that we have the full copy of it, and we can put it out on air and enjoy it, not just alongside your feature, but also within our rotation. I was going to say, because when you mentioned about Marvin Gaye, the I Believe track, which is instrumental, but the way it starts is very Marvin-esque. Wouldn't you agree? It's got a sort of very Marvin-esque feel to it,
Yeah, we actually had in mind Alicia Keys when we were doing it. But yeah, I guess so. I believe.
Yeah, it kind of as it goes into the track, it kind of builds up a little bit, doesn't it? It sort of starts off almost in an older style, and then just sort of gradually morphs into more of your Alicia Keys, I guess. With a heavier beat, and it was just it kind of made that sort of gentle change as I was listening to it, and I thought, yeah, I like that. That's lovely, fabulous.
Yeah.
That's really good. And one of the tunes, "A Love All Mine." Could you tell us a little bit more about that one?
Oh, okay. Well, "I Love All Mine." It's one of my favorites off the record. When we were creating it, my producer Taurus Music, he is a very big fan of Stevie Wonder, and I myself am a big fan of Michael Jackson, and so we kind of put that together with their essence, and "I Love All Mine." It's kind of a multi purpose song. What am I trying to say? It kind of has a lot of different definitions. So "I Love All Mine" is basically about, of course, an undying love and just your admiration for this special person. And then I kind of relayed my feelings for Michael Jackson in that same thing. So I dedicate the record to him on the album because it kind of has that feeling that he has. The music kind of goes the same. It makes you feel the same way as of the way you make me feel, or remember the time. So it was kind of like homage to Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder, but also just embracing their positivity. Again, that's what we were trying to put across. It was just something that was upbeat and lively.
Yeah, and it's got. I love that sort of kick drum beat with the congos. It's got like a percussion over the top of a very lovely, deep sounding sort of kick drum, and I just I get exactly what you mean when you're talking about it being like the way you make me feel, or tunes of that sort of Jackson type. Of era. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Yeah. Now you've said that, I can see it straight away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's brilliant. And then the title track of the album, "What Is to Be Major," Rimshot, absolutely fab. I love that. It just gives it a wonderful feel. Strings and keys, absolutely great. It's got a wonderful feel to it. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh yeah, that when we first were putting together the record, we didn't even know that we were doing a record. And again, my producer came up with the music, and I'm a huge fan of jazz. I love Tony Bennett and Shirley Horn and Cassandra Wilson and Miles Davis. So I immediately loved what he was doing, and so it was a record that we didn't have anything to go with for a very long time. Like, we had no lyrics and no melody for a very long time. And so once we realized we were putting together the record, I was like, wow, this would be an awesome, thread to piece together everything. So that's why you have What Is to Be Major, and then you have the Major Orchestra, which is a take on the same music, but it's slightly different, and I actually sing different lyrics to it, just to kind of piece together the record in a way where you can understand that there's some kind of theme of of love and self-love and understanding. But yeah, the jazz in it is really what gets me. And I'm very into title tracks. Like, whenever I hear a title track, and when someone names their album after a song on the record, I'm so interested to go to hear that record. So I'm happy that people are embracing it the way they are, because it does feel good, and it represents the album in a good way.
It most certainly does. And I mean, the Major Orchestra, it's sort of it's just over a minute, isn't it? Minute and 30 or something like that, and it's just got that orchestral sort of feel to it. Yeah, I noticed that it was on the same theme, but the lyrics were different. And brilliant, absolutely brilliant, Barsheem. Yeah. And then the tune Magic, I mean, that's just go, 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 isn't it? I love that. And I kind of felt a little bit of, I don't know, sort of Curtis Mayfield in there a little bit, you know. It was just sort of feeling a bit like that, you know. I didn't know if that was intentional or if that was just me, but that kind of came out of Magic.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional, but I'm definitely a big fan of Curtis Mayfield. Just, you know, he had those funky grooves and those, you know, the soul aspect of things down pat. I really appreciate the music that he put together, you know, in his time. So yeah, Magic it's the fastest song on the album, which is pretty cool. And you know, that song came about so fast. We recorded it in about a day.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it was one of those songs that, I mean, we were looking for something to pick up the record a little bit, and you know, it was an instant thing. Once we got going with it, it just kind of happened. And yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm performing that song for the first time this month.
Wonderful. Where will that be, Barsheem? Where are you performing?
It's going to be in New York City at the Delancey on November 25th.
Wonderful. Sounds absolutely great. You know, I wish New York was a little closer to London, because I'd come along and listen.
I wish I can come to London. That's the thing. I mean, London is one of my favorite cities. I've been there a couple of times, but never in the, But I'm looking forward to whenever that comes about.
Are you? Have you performed in London before?
I have, but not as a solo artist. I was doing some work with another artist a couple of years back.
Wow.
Yeah. So to be there on my own.
We need to look out for Barsheem here in London. Then, yeah, I reckon you'd do great on the Jazz Cafe stage here in London town. That would be very good.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that would be a great place to see you. I can see you up there actually with your hat, and yeah, you'd fit right there. That's good. Liking that.
That's awesome.
Fabulous. Yeah. And I'm going to ask you a question that perhaps you shouldn't ask an artist, but on that album, is there a favourite of yours?
You know, it changes. You know, man, oh man, we started the record with no one, and I just was so in love with it because it was the first time that I really like focused on my voice as opposed to the instrumentation. So if you listen to No One, it's very quiet. But I will say, you know, it does change. At the moment, I'm madly in love with You Are My Love. It just has a very mellow, you know, vocal quality, but also a nice, steady groove. So I'm really in love with You Are My Love at the moment.
Yeah, that's a great tune, and that's one that we have played as well here on SFR on air. So that's gone out on our breakfast show before, and a great tune it is. Lovely.
That's awesome.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, are you okay for time? Are we all right to carry on for a little while longer?
Absolutely. I've got all the time.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. I got good time too. So that's wonderful. I wanted to go back in time, Barsheem. I wanted to sort of go back to the beginnings of everything and sort of ask you, you know, sort of what it was that brought you to music, or in fact, possibly what brought music to you originally.
Well, I come from a musical family, not entirely, but my mom sang a lot in church, and my oldest sister, she began singing at a young age, and I would just kind of, you know, listen to her, and music was always played around the house, so lots of Motown, The Temptations, Smokey Robinson, Miracles, you know, Marvin Gaye. It was always played around the house. I don't know, I was always a musical kid, but the Temptation song, Just My Imagination.
Tune, yeah.
It's one of those songs that, you know, if you're able to sit down and like really just let the song play and get engulfed in the song, you would understand how beautiful it is. So just all the melodies and the harmonies of the voices was really intriguing to me. So I think that was the point where I was like, wow, this is probably something that I would want to do, or that I would like to be a part of. And then from there, like I said, just growing up in New York City, I was just around lots of music, lots of different genres of music. And so I pretty much just started tinkling with it and trying to figure out what I liked about it, and did some early recordings of Michael Jackson songs and stuff like that, and it just became more and more serious for me. And at the point where I wanted to write my own songs, and I looked to Babyface for writing. He was one of my sister's favorite artists, and so I would look in her liner notes, and back in that time it was like cassette tapes where they had all the song lyrics inside of the cassette tapes, and I would look through that and just see how he formulated all the songs, and I kind of patterned a lot of my early songwriting to Babyface. And so I think after that, once I started writing my own songs, I wanted to record them, and every now and again I'd find a studio or something that someone would have, and it just became my passion and my everything.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
your passion and your everything. Well, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So you said about sort of Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson and so on. Were those your idols in your teens, or did you follow a different sort of musical path when you were sort of in your teenage years? Who did you listen to? Who were your idols really back then?
Like in the beginning when I began.
Well, I'm just thinking, as people sort of go through this musical thing in their teens where they don't necessarily listen to the same music as they did when they were listening to the music of their parents, or later on in life when they've kind of mellowed and cut their teeth on music a bit. So the teen years, I always ask about that because that can often lead to sort of other artists and so on. So I wondered what you were listening to, what your favourites were.
Yeah, the funny thing is that I listen to all kinds of music. Anything that has a melody that I think, again, going back to jazz. Jazz is something that, I don't know, I've always had a strong appreciation for it because it just seemed to be so open and free. But as far as like influences, I really gravitate more towards female singers than male singers. Like Mary J. Blige is a very strong influence. I think she has such power and such she just evokes so much emotion. It's soul music is something that I really appreciate. So I would say like Mary J. Blige. D'Angelo was a very big influence. Maxwell was a very big influence around that time. As I said earlier, Alicia Keys, I think she has a strong ability to just, bring a song across so effortlessly and very clearly, but, it invokes emotion and thought. Tony Bennett, I love his timbre. He has such a sweet timbre. He's like sweet and strong at the same time. And then, he just gives me a lot of inspiration whenever watching him. It's still going, to this day, which is awesome. I just saw something of his on PBS last week.
Absolutely, yeah, Tony. Wow, like you say, still out there going strong, and a surprising number of people have him as an influence too. Yeah, and you can see why. It's great, and you've got a great passion for the jazz side as well, which is lovely too.
Thank you.
So what are you working on now? What's your current project?
At the moment we're trying to get out on some sort of a tour and promote the record. We recorded the record it took about 2 years to record the record.
Wow.
Get it to the way that we wanted. So we have a couple of singles that are out where people can hear, and so now we're putting together the live show. As I said, I have the show on November 25th, and I have another on December 19th at Ella Lounge in New York City. And so we're just trying to support the record as much as we can. And the cool thing about it is, we're an independent label, so we're kind of just doing what we feel and just getting a feel for what the people want to hear. So we're able to put out as much songs as possible, via internet, and just see whatever pops, whatever people want to hear the most. So that's exciting for me right now. Just putting together a fantastic show that people will be able to enjoy, as well as just listening to the CD.
No, that's absolutely wonderful. And do you have a specific band, or do you use session musicians? How do you work that out?
At the moment, we don't. We don't have any band members, anything. We're pretty much trying to piece the show together.
Yeah.
And put some organic sounds in it. But at the moment, it's just myself and track. It's a track at the moment.
Yeah. Well, that's all good. It all comes together. It all takes time, and these things. Like spending 2 years on an album, to make it what you want it to be. I mean, people don't realise the amount of work, really, that goes into putting an album together. It's not, you don't just sort of walk into a recording studio and come out with a CD in your hand, and I'm sure people think that's what you do,
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm so glad you mentioned earlier about, the sound of the album and just all the different instruments. My producer is a musician. He pretty much plays everything, and so it was very important to him to have the album sound really organic and as live as possible. So, it's not that difficult to perform, to a track live, because it almost sounds like it is live already.
Yeah,
in a sense.
absolutely. It has a great feel. I mean, I just loved that there's a lot of instrumentation going on around a lot of your tunes that is over and above what you would have expected, and I think it gives it a unique sound. I think it gives it a very unique feel, especially around there's some strings and keys in there that are very organic, like you say. And been beautifully done. So, congratulations to your producer, because the instrumental work is great too. Around your fabulous vocals and so on. Do you play anything on the album at all, or are you vocals only?
Thank you. No, I don't play anything, and that's funny. I play bass guitar, but for this record, I really wanted to focus on the writing and the vocals. So, no, that would be all of Taurus music. All of Taurus music.
Yeah, it's it's paid dividend on the album, because the vocals are fabulous, and and the writing and lyrical content is absolutely great. The next one was around, because you've done quite a bit of sort of TV and some movies and things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. The first feature film I've ever done was Dreamgirls. I played a member of... Oh, yeah. It was an awesome project to work on. I've done a little acting, but this was the first big budget thing I've ever really done. So just to be around, Beyonce and Jamie Foxx and Danny Glover, it was amazing, amazing experience. But I played one member of Little Albert and the True Tones, which is one of the contest acts that they have in the opening of the movie.
Yes,
and it was awesome. It was a great experience. I've also done a couple of episodes of a show that was on NBC here in the States. It's escaping me. American Dreams.
Yes, yeah.
Which was loosely based on the American Bandstand experience. You know what's so interesting about all the stuff that I've done acting-wise? They've all been singers. I've always acted as a singer. I've done small things here and there that didn't, but most of the big productions were things that I've done where I play either in some singing group or I played an actual singer.
Well, there's nothing like using somebody who knows what they're doing to do those parts. It's going to look authentic.
I guess so. It's pretty interesting. It's always fun, but I thought about it not too long ago, and I was like, that's pretty interesting that always happens.
Wonderful. No, that's absolutely great. And so, any more acting lined up, Barsheem, or is that it for now for a little while, or are you just open to what comes?
Well, yeah, there's nothing in the works. I'm actually doing some voiceover acting at the moment, in between what I'm doing. But yeah, I would, love to venture into that world. I respect it so much, doing the things that I've done with acting. It's allowed me to understand a whole other, I have such great respect for the actors and what they do and how they do it. So it is something that I've been looking more into and trying to incorporate it. At my heart, I'm a singer and a songwriter, and that's where I'll be permanently. But I would love to do anything, that concerns acting, because it just is a really it's a unique talent. I need more training, of course, but I will, do some things in the future, I'm sure.
That's absolutely brilliant. That sounds great, and looking forward to whatever you're doing, singing, acting. Especially as you always act as a singer, that's a good place to be. And really looking forward and hoping that we will see you in London at some time in the not too distant future. And the last thing, Barsheem, was if you have a website, and as I know you have a website, if you have social media contacts and places where our listeners can come and buy your music, could you please sort of talk them through all of the best places to go for all of that, and to interact with you and find out more about you and so on?
Absolutely. So I'd like for all the listeners to follow me on Twitter, which is at Barsheem Sounds, Sounds. My debut album, it's available on my website, which is barsheemsounds.com. Instagram is the same, at Barsheem Sounds. And yeah, so that's pretty much it.
That sounds absolutely great, because they will want to come and find you, and if they can find you on Twitter, then they can converse with you there a little bit, which is great. They love to interact and get very much into the music, which is lovely. But with our listeners, they're all sort of very much into your style of music, as it were. So that's fabulous. I just really always left to say, Barsheem, is to wish you an absolutely wonderful weekend ahead, and enjoy. And I hope that your new gigs on the 25th of November, wasn't it, and in early December, go absolutely fabulous. And and look forward to seeing you here in the UK.
Absolutely, and I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. Music has been, this album, I'm very proud of it, and I'm just so grateful for all the internet radio stations and the DJs who've been embracing it. And I applaud you for, reaching out to me and giving me this opportunity in this platform to display my music and just, get it heard. It's not an easy thing to do, and so I do appreciate you guys taking out the time and making this happen. So, hats up to you, DJ Glossy. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate your wonderful music very much, Barsheem, and thank you for your time today and the opportunity to be able to showcase your album here in London on our radio station, which is worldwide, but we have a listenership across 52 countries now, which is kind of nice, and a great listener base here in the UK, and it's a pleasure to take great music and take it out to the masses, which is what we love to do.
Yes, thank you so much. That's awesome.
That's great. Well, don't leave it forever to talk to us again, because we'd love to talk to you again fairly soon, and keep in touch. And if you've got anything new coming out, or single coming out, or something you'd like us to get behind, then please reach out to us, because we're more than happy to do that and support you and promote you here in the UK.
Thank you so much. I definitely will. Have
a great weekend, and thank you for your time.
Awesome. You too. Thank you.
Okay. Have a blessed and beautiful weekend. You take care, my friend.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Cheers now. Thank you. Bye-bye.